Her Journey to Healing, Reaching Women with a Desperate Cry is an 8-week Zoom seminar in which Kamala and Winston help women to start living their best life by rediscovering the image of God in their life. Kamala, a licensed marriage and family therapist, joins her husband of 16 years, an ordained pastor, to marry the clinical and the spiritual. You will begin living your best life filled with love, joy, and peace. Register at kwministries.net for this life-changing seminar.
The thing about that too, the mistake that I make often is try to love Kamala the way I want to be loved. Now, you know that's not love. That's me doing something to get something. Let me say it again. When you try to love someone the way you receive love. So for example, if I hear some good news and I get excited, I get really, really excited. And so if somebody tells me good news, I'm going to get excited. I'm going to get excited with that. And then I get mad because they're not getting excited. But that's really selfish. That's not reaching the person where they need to be met, but rather reaching the person where I need to be met in hopes of getting something in return. Mm-hmm.
You know, we in the therapy world like to feel like we know a lot of stuff, right? And so we talk about all kinds of different concepts, and we've done it all along the way. But nothing that we talk about is new as it relates to the Word of God. Here we are talking about how God is coming to get us, how we get to be now physically, not just mentally, a part of something.
Yes, Lord.
And so this was a concept that Maslow talked about a long time ago, love and belonging. He had this great hierarchy of needs, and if you've got safety and security, you've got shelter, you've got all of those things, then once you have that secure foundation, then you can focus on love and belonging. But here it is that God is saying you already belong. You don't have to worry about love and belonging in the way that Maslow talked about it. But the interesting thing is, just in the same way that Maslow identified that love and belonging is something that we need to thrive as human beings, here's where we're saying to you that, yeah, we agree. We do need love and belonging to thrive as human beings. We do need love and belonging to be able to experience care and compassion and empathy and having a place in the world. We do need love and belonging to be part of community. And yes, we're
in the kingdom of God. Hi, good evening, and welcome to Monday Night Live with KW, because if it's Monday night,
You're live with KW.
and Jay is missing tonight. Pastor Gibson had an appointment that ran way over, and so he won't be with us on tonight, but as usual, he sends his love. We are so excited to be with you on another Monday night. And why don't you tell us what you're grateful for today? Because if it's Monday, not only are you live with KW, but we are celebrating something. What are you celebrating today, Kamala?
You know what? I'm actually celebrating the fact that it never occurred to me to not celebrate anything today. Why did I say it that way? Because we've been very specific. You guys have been along the journey with us. If you're joining us for the first time, this might be new to you. But we have been very intentional about finding something to be grateful for on a Monday versus what we typically do, which is bemoan Monday as the ugly stepchild of the week.
So in other words, you're saying you didn't find anything negative about today.
I had a great day.
Oh, on a Monday. What did you say? Language
shapes reality.
Language creates reality. That's the good stuff.
So what are you celebrating today?
I'm celebrating that I went walking. And I'm celebrating that I went walking today because I did not feel like it at all. You know how much I didn't feel like it. My brother Albert called me later on in the evening and we talked. And man, before I knew it, I was halfway around the block. You had to come pick me up.
And you went, oh, yeah, I sure did.
You had to come pick me up because, well, I had an emergency. But I got out there and had most of my walk. And I am so grateful.
You were almost back.
I was almost back. So I'm grateful to that. See, my father-in-law, there, Brother Glenn. Hey, how are you? What are you celebrating on this Monday night? And would you all please tell us what you're celebrating? We would love to know what you're thankful for.
And just to kind of stay on that for a little bit, you know, like I said, if you're joining us for the first time, this might be a new concept to you. But we really want to be intentional about celebrating Mondays. Monday is a day that's always associated with Oh, it's the worst day.
Monday blues.
Gosh, I wish there was another day between Saturday and Sunday before I can. Right, we have all of these, just anecdotal things that we say regarding Monday. But if we celebrate,
find something to be grateful for. Yeah. So please share with us what you're grateful for today, and let's take the blues out of Monday. So, Kamala, what are we doing here?
So, a great way to get rid of the whatever blues you might have is to visit our store, www.awministries.net/shop. And if you go to our store, you will see lots of great items. We have got our devotional series there. We have a great book of Journey of Healing that was written by our very own daughter, Ariane Taylor. And she's talking about her experience of her journey of healing through a chronic illness. And, just not just a chronic illness, but just, kind of the throes of adolescence and going through both of those things. And it's just a great book. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a biased. And yes,
we're definitely biased.
But it's also a great book.
It's a really good read.
And so we've got lots of things in the store for you to check out. We've got tote bags, we've got mugs, we've got just awesome different pieces of merchandise. Devotionals.
And I'm excited because you just whispered in my ear before we started that you have turned in your latest work to Annika to be edited.
I have. And here, guys, you need to know this. So all this while he has been on me, like, you need to finish this, putting all the business out there. You need to finish this book. I've got mine that I'm working on, and we're both going to have this ready by December, ready to rock and roll.
She finished before me.
You need to make sure that you've got Sundays. We got to work on our books together.
She finished before me.
So I said, all right, no problem. Bet we on it.
She finished before me, so congratulations. I'll catch up. But it is a journey to healing, a therapeutic approach. And you're in for a good treat. That would make a great Christmas gift. So we're excited about that. So, Cece, hey, Cece, how are you? We were talking about you on yesterday. We were talking about Erie. We said Kamala thought there were flurries there, but then I think she looked again and realized it wasn't flurries. Mm-hmm. And Cece says she's grateful because she's got a lot accomplished today. Woo-hoo! My father-in-law says I'm alive. I give God thanks for my family. Just picture of my handsome grandson. I'm celebrating him. All right. We have I'm excited about tonight's guest. I am so excited about tonight's guest. And one of the reasons I'm really, really excited about tonight's guest is because I have personally known her for years, and she's the very same person. We're talking about, our topic tonight is a journey to healing. Let's talk to a successful Black woman. I am not in the least bit surprised of where she's gotten in her life and how she is. She's been this way since I met her in high school. And so we're so excited about our guest tonight. You're going to introduce her to us, and then we're going to bring her in. All right, let's bring her in, and then Kamala introduce her. We always introduce people, then bring them in. Let's bring her in and not talk about her behind her back. There she goes. Hi, Dr. Robinson. Let's unmute. There we go.
All right.
Let's unmute again, Doc. All right, there we go. All right.
How's that?
That's perfect.
All right.
So now that you have seen the face of the person that will be with us tonight, let me do a couple of things about her.
Okay, so maybe backwards. All right, sorry.
No, we're on. So Dr. Carmen Robinson, let's start off with this. Always thinks she's right. Let's see what her facial expression looks like. And
it is what it is.
Guess what? She is right most of the time. Born to a highly opinionated family, parents Ted and Beverly Robinson of North Carolina and brother Christopher Robinson, a Navy vet and surgical tech, she has had her fair share of scientific, theological, and philosophical debates. But more than that, she was raised to believe in diligence and strong work ethic, knowing that God blesses our best efforts. Her tremendous testimony, which we'll get into in a bit, regarding her medical school experience and triumph over adversity has been inspiring for many young people. Now that's already good so far, right, guys? There's more. She attended Pine Forge Academy, Oakwood College, Winston-Salem State University, and the Wake Forest University School of Medicine. After completing her residency at Baylor College of Medicine, she became board certified in family medicine and currently practices in North Carolina. We will be showing her website in a little bit. She is passionate about health maintenance and disease prevention and empowers her patients and community to be informed about positive health strategies. Combining her religious and spiritual beliefs with her medical training, her specific foci are whole body wellness, mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Without further ado, the one and only Dr. Carmen Robinson.
I am so excited, man, to have you. How are you doing? What are you thankful for?
I was hoping that you would include me in the what am I thankful for today? Because I'll be honest, I'm one of the I need an extra day between Saturday and Sunday. There needs to be one more day. But I'm very grateful. I recently made a life change, moved my immediate family from Winston-Salem, where we lived for several years, to Asheville, North Carolina, the mountains. I was recruited to be chief medical officer at one of the healthcare centers in the region. And my goodness, I just finished. Today is day 1, week 2 of my orientation.
Wow.
Yeah. And it has just been so wonderful. The people that I get to work with, the patients and community that I get to serve. It's a new environment that we're getting used to, but the neighborhood is friendly. Our neighbors, there's so many children in the neighborhood, and I woke up this morning, it's fall, so the leaves are changing. My toddler, Carson, who's 3 going on, 30, is thriving, doing well. And I just, I give thanks to God. I live a blessed life. So yes, today I'm very thankful. I'm thankful every day, but I'm thankful.
Well, we are celebrating you, ma'am. Congratulations. Doc, we're excited for you. And we know I know that community is going to be better because you're there. And I know that staff is going to be better because you're leading it. Congratulations. And we wish you all the very best and all of God's blessings, Sister Valentine says she was able to overcome some things she'd been fearful of today. So yay, we're celebrating you, Sister Valentine. Awesome. We're so excited. Doc, I want to jump straight in it.
All right, let's do it.
My best friend and I were talking about you. And I think I was going to talk about my best friend at some point tonight. I just think we were talking about you at the when we last saw you at our school alumni thingamajiggy, right? And I said, and we were talking about you from high school. And Carl said to me, well, she has an affirming dad, an affirming parents. And it's like a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, that makes so much sense. Mm-hmm. How crucial is it for young girls, and our whole thing tonight is we're talking to a successful Black woman. And I'm going to ask you to define success in a second, but I want to start here. And I want to start here. How important is it for young girls to be affirmed by their dads? Talk to us.
It can be the thing that makes or break. It can be the thing that marks whether someone is going to live and walk in their purpose or continuously have regrets and wonder what could have been. And I'm so grateful that my parents, we weren't raised wealthy. We were modest, middle class family. But one thing, and it was read in my bio, my parents, never said when you grow up, you need to be, a lawyer or a teacher or, a doctor. They always said, the thing that we expect from you and Chris, my brother, is your best effort. Your best effort is enough. And if you can say with all honesty and with a clear conscience that you gave your best effort, then that's all we want from you. We are proud of you. Whether it's an A, if it's a C, if it's a bronze medal, if it's an honorable mention, if it's JV, if you have done your best, we are proud of you. And that's something that stuck with me my whole life. And when you talk about, success, a lot of people have lots of different definitions. I think if you Google it, Webster will have its own definition of success. I think it's a really good question, and I think it has to be defined for one's self rather than somebody else defining it for you. And I think based on how our parents raised us, my view of success is when I look back, can I say, I gave it my all. I gave it my best. Did I? If the answer is yes, then I have been successful. If I say no, I really didn't give it my best. And sometimes you can't. For whatever reason, you're tired, you're sad, you're going through depression. Sometimes you can't give it your best at that moment. And so what do? You try again. You pick it up and try it again. So I definitely believe that having affirming parents that push you not to fulfill their dreams, but to fulfill your own, and encourage you, support you, come what may, and be behind you, encouraging you to do your best. That really can make or break a person.
How did you come to the place of being able to identify what your purpose was going to be? Because I really loved how you talked about, the parental kind of background to it, and the fact that
in your purpose.
We want you to do what's best. We want you to put forth your best effort, and that being kind of that propelling factor. So how did you get to that place of identifying the purpose for you?
I don't deny that I had been very fortunate. I knew what I wanted to do from a very young age. Everyone doesn't have that. So I think in that regard, I had it sort of easy. Being a doctor is the only thing I have ever wanted to do. And I have family members who have gone into the medical field, and so I had opportunity to see. But even with that, I was never pushed or sort of strong-armed into it. It came, or that desire and that sense of purpose came organically. But I do recognize that it is a privilege to have known what I wanted to do from a very early age. And because of that, my parents, my teachers, counselors, mentors, they helped to create opportunities for me to walk in that purpose. And it seemed like every door that was opened just pushed me closer to what I believed and what I believed I was called to do, which is ministry of healing. I recognize that it takes some people a while to find their purpose, to find what it is that God intends for their lives. And it doesn't have to be one thing. It could be, for this season, you're called for this purpose. For this season, you're called to something else. I think in my older, I turned 40 this year, so older. But as I get older, I have the...
That's just disrespectful. That's just disrespectful. But
you're not too far off.
I'll take it from you. I'll take it from you.
I'm quite all right.
I'm of the mentality of just walking. Just walking. And if you kind of think of it as maybe as a boat on the water, you're rowing, and you're allowing God to move the rudder. What is my job? My job is to keep rowing. And I'll get to where God has purposed for me, because God is the one that's moving the rudder. I'm just rowing. I'm rowing, I'm walking, and God is just guiding me. And I recognize that can be someone's process as well. Just move, just move. So, that's my walk. That's my journey. I knew from a young age, I had lots of wonderful opportunities and people who helped me along the way. And part of what I believe my purpose is because of how I was nurtured growing up. Now it's my turn. I get to do the same for other people coming behind me. So that's one of my greatest blessings outside of, what I get paid to do during the week. What I derive a great sense of joy and fulfillment is being that mentor that I got to have in my journey.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. How did you stay focused?
Yeah.
God called you at a young age and you knew that this is the direction and you had models, but how, and before you even answer that, Kamala, did you see that come out earlier? This time, it usually comes later, the need of people. You heard it? The need of people. How were you able to stay focused? You went through high school, college. How did you stay focused?
So, Pastor, one thing you know about me is I'm going to be very real.
Oh, I know.
There is a line that I have experienced between focus and obsession. And in my experience, I have towed that line, and it has gone and veered into the waters of obsession. And so what did that look like for me? That looked like depression and anxiety. So what I had to learn was, yes, it's necessary, not just good, it's necessary to see the goal in mind. And, I talked about walking, that walking towards your goal. But understanding that life happens, and part of a healthy life, healthy body, healthy mind, healthy spirit, healthy relationship with the Lord is allowing yourself to be flexible and to not get so worked up when there are obstacles or detours or alternate paths. It's still going towards the goal. It may not look exactly the way you imagined it or envisioned it, but if you believe that this is what God is calling you to do, and all of the doors previously have been opening and showing you and pointing you towards this goal, then there's no reason to believe that the obstacles and the alternate paths somehow mean that God has said, okay, now you're on your own. You take it from here. And so that was a struggle for me. That was a struggle for me in medical school. I had debilitating depression and anxiety, such that I actually took a medical leave of absence. I didn't recognize it in myself. I thought that it was, I thought that somehow I was not deserving, like my classmates, of being there. You've heard of imposter syndrome. I was test patient number one. I thought that I wasn't smart enough. Okay, so you're experiencing these symptoms. It means that you're not studying hard enough. It means that you need to cut off your friends because you don't need friends right now. You need to study harder. Okay, it means you need to stop, spending as much time with your family and the people who keep you centered because you don't have time for that. You need to study more and more. Not realizing that was exactly the opposite of what I needed to do. And so it wasn't until I got my diagnosis, received the appropriate treatment, that I was able to see clearly, okay, No, you're still moving towards your goal.
Yes.
God was not lying. You did not
Yes.
misunderstand him.
Yes.
This is you are correct. We just have some detours. We just have some obstacles. It makes you stronger. You know, I
Yes.
felt it's an isolating experience. And so the victory, part of the victory lap, as it were, it's part of that victory lap is getting some other people who are experiencing that and maybe feeling isolated, letting them know, no, you're not the only one.
Yes.
No, you're not crazy. No, you're not stupid. You can do this. I did it.
Yes.
So why not you?
Yes.
So focus with flexibility, with balance, with healthy lifestyle that keeps you centered, things that help to support your focus and not take away from it.
So there's somebody listening who is in that place of anxiety, depression. They're asking themselves all the questions that are so relatable. You know, is this really for me? Am I in the right place? Am I deserving? I think those are such relatable questions. So there's somebody listening who's in that space right now, and they're hearing you say that I was in that space and I was able to shift into a more flexible mindset. What do you want to say to that person who's in that space right now?
Yes.
And they don't know what that potentially could look like. And that by itself is scary.
Yeah. I think the most important thing, and I'm saying this because this was the thing that I needed when I was at my lowest point, was to know that I was not alone. The isolation can be almost as bad, if not worse, than that feeling of anxiety and that feeling of doubt and discouragement. Just feeling like, my goodness, there's nobody else. There's nobody else that knows what I'm going through. And so I think the most important thing is for whomever may be experiencing that to know that they are not alone. They're not the first, and they most certainly won't be the last to experience that. So what do you do at this point? Go to sleep. Get some rest. Get some rest. If you need to take a melatonin, if you need to, have some chamomile tea, go to sleep. When you wake up, oftentimes you have a fresher perspective. Rest gives your body and your mind what it needs to see things clearly.
Yes.
It doesn't clear the situation. It doesn't change the circumstances. It just gives your body, it preps your body for what to do next.
The journey ahead.
So you have to really look at, okay, what are we looking at right now? I have this goal in mind. This is something that I feel very strongly about. I believe that this is what God has purposed for my life. Have I availed myself of the necessary resources? Is there someone doing the thing that I'd like to do, or some iteration of the thing that I'd like to do? Do I have a professional mentor? Have I made my body and my mind, have I positioned myself to be the healthiest that I can be? So one thing that I'll say, and Sister Taylor, I think you'll like this. Everybody needs a therapist. People think I'm not talking about them. They think that I'm talking to the person, sitting on the other side of them. I am talking, if you hear me, I am talking to you. You need a therapist. You need a therapist just like you need a primary care doctor. And it's because we need that unbiased, professional, trained person that can help us sort things out in our head. Sometimes it's as easy as just talking it out. And sometimes it's just that, just talking it out. Sometimes we also need that feedback and interaction to get those sound treatment modalities on how to focus, how to prepare and plan, how to organize. So making sure that your bodies and your minds are healthy, making sure that you have a mentor, um, and then look at your plan. I think sometimes we see our goal as we have today, and then we have the goal, not realizing that there are bite-sized chunks, bite-sized goals that can be met. And I am all about celebrating small victories. I will have a celebration with, brownies or cake for very small victories. Because what we're giving ourselves these encouragement deposits that we can use to withdraw
Propel.
later when those inevitable obstacles and detours come. We have something to draw from. If we're always withdrawing, we're going to go, what happens if you keep swiping your debit card without making any deposits? You're going to overdraft. So giving yourself those deposits, celebrating those small victories, meeting those small goals, and then you look up and you see how far, oh, I actually have come far up a distance. And that goal doesn't seem so far away.
Hashtag you need a therapist. Hashtag you need a therapist. And then earlier you said God has not changed his mind. You're headed in the right direction. I'm trying to remember the exact phrase you said. But you said God had not changed.
I don't know, Pastor.
I'm gonna find it back. But for now, we're hashtagging you need a therapist. You need a therapist. So let's stay with that person that's off track. They know what God called them to. They know what the long-term goal is. They know what the big picture is. But right now they are discouraged. Right now they are not on, in their minds, they're not on course. Get them back on course. So it's okay for them to understand that life doesn't always go linear. Stuff happens. How do we get back on course?
That's a hard question, because no two situations are the same.
Right.
There's no prescription for this person's journey and the next person's journey. For someone, and I'll use myself as an example. I've had singular focus. I've not wanted to do anything else. There are some of my colleagues who started off, professional basketball player, had a life-changing injury, and then fell into medicine as a result. So he did not see his life, when he's, playing high school ball, college ball, he didn't say, okay, and then ultimately I am going to be a physical therapist, a physician assistant. But he had that major life change, and he had to shift.
Adjust.
He had to accept, and he had to adjust. And so that can be another story. We talk about, God has not changed his mind. You're not crazy. You didn't mishear. You didn't misunderstand. For that example of that person, from the outside looking in, it looked like God intended for, his purpose to be in professional sports. He was a mentor for, some of the kids that he had grown up with, and he did a lot of good in that role. So did he misunderstand God? No, I believe that for that season, that is what God intended. So what do? You keep walking. You take your time. You grieve the plan that you thought you had for yourself. You take your time, go to sleep, get some rest, wake up, and then think about, okay, what do I do now? How does God fulfill his purpose in my life now? And So sometimes I believe that means, all right, maybe I just delay this goal for a little bit, and I'm just gonna, go to work. I'm gonna substitute teach for a while, and that may be something that's temporary, or that may be something that grows into becomes what becomes grows into what God has already intended for you, but has not yet revealed to you until that moment. So we have to take heart that we are not that God has not just left us to fend for ourselves, but that we continue to walk the way we feel that we're called, take the detours as they come, and be receptive to the Spirit for what life changes may be. It may be the same as what you originally believed God's plan for your life was, or it may be something completely different, but altogether better than the plan that you had for yourself.
Woo, I love it.
There's something that I keep hearing it in this way. You're not specifically using this wordage, but this is how I'm hearing it. Flexible mindset. And I'm hearing flexible mindset, whether or not I have always had a sense of purpose, of focus on this is the direction I want to go, or if I have an experience where I've had to shift from what I thought was to something else. I keep hearing that flexible mindset. So what I'm curious about for you, because what you mentioned was that you went through a period of questioning yourself, even though you knew where you ultimately wanted to be, and you took that leave and you did some work, spent some time with yourself, got some rest. I'm hearing all
I love that. I love that. Go to sleep. Hashtag go to sleep.
Right? And so I'm curious about, what did you notice as different from the time period when you took that pause and then returned?
After I rested?
Yes.
Yeah. So it could have gone a couple of ways. When I was at the point of my medical leave of absence, I was actually dismissed from medical school. I was dismissed from medical school. My anxiety was exam related. So I would see a computer screen. Our tests were all computer based. I would get to the computer screen and the computer would go blank. And so it got to a point where I was just clicking buttons. So what does that mean? Failing tests. You could not outperform me when we were on the wards, when we were in direct patient care. But when it came to the standardized tests, it was a wash. So I had gotten on academic probation, and eventually I was dismissed from medical school. I don't have any problems sharing this story. I have God has removed all that I carried for a long time. I carried shame and guilt and doubt. I don't have any of that now. So you feel free to ask me any question. I'll tell everybody. I was dismissed from medical school. And I remember meeting with my mentor, who at the time was one of the associate deans, a black lady. And she took me into her office. By this time, I was already dismissed. And she had a stack of papers with her. And her plan for that meeting was, now what can you do? You can apply for physician assistant programs. You can decide to go into education. Maybe you want to take some credits and go into nursing, and maybe, from there go into nurse practitioner. I said, let me stop you right there.
I hear you. I so hear you.
I'm grieving right now. And it comes out a lot more eloquently today than it did then.
Of course.
But the long and short of it was, I'm grieving right now. I'm a mess right now. And I don't know a whole lot of what's next. except
Come on,
I am
Dad.
meant to be a physician.
Come on, Dad.
That's the end of the sentence.
Come on, Dad.
Someone else in that situation could very well have felt in their spirit that God was calling for a change in what that person believed their life plan was. And I'll never, ever criticize or ridicule that.
Of course.
But it was very clear to me. I didn't understand why I was going through what I was going through. I had no answers when someone would say, well, you're dismissed. You know, no other medical school is going to accept you at this point. You can't start over to become a physician anywhere. A dismissal is a black mark. Even with all of that, I was very clear. However, however it's going to happen, I'm meant to be a physician. So I'm going to let God work out the details.
Yes,
I'm going to go home and cry and grieve and just, you know, get through the day. So she was the associate dean. The dean of the school met with me a few days later. I told him my story, you know, told him, you know, I've always been candid about my spirituality. I'm not ashamed of it. I respect other belief systems.
Of course.
But I shared with him my story. Do you know this man, Bill Applegate? He reversed the dismissal.
Yes, Lord.
He said, Carmen, you are the type of person, I'll never forget. Carmen, you are the type of person that we want to say graduated from Wake Forest. He overturned the dismissal. He had the power to do that.
Yeah.
I was reinstated within 1 week and, you know, completed my rotations, got the help that I needed for the problem, which was exam anxiety. I got the treatment that I needed to combat that. Graduated at the top of my class, got into a top residency program, you know, became faculty in my residency program after I graduated, and now chief medical officer for a regional health system.
Wait.
I was meant to be a physician. Period.
Wait. Let's back up some.
I love it.
I do. Let's back up some. Oh man, thank you, Jesus. Worship you, God. Thank you, God. Let's go back for a quick second, and I want for you to talk to the person now that's dealing with shame, that's dealing with, because when you heard that, you thought about, and what her parents never said you had to be X.
Do your best.
What they said was,
best effort.
did you do your best? So I can imagine then you didn't even have an issue with having this conversation with them.
So let me tell you what the lie of depression and anxiety will do. Depression and anxiety, which is a disease, part of that disease process, and Sister Taylor, you know this well, part of this disease process tells your brain what your reality is. And so what depression and anxiety did to me was it told me I am responsible for making my family proud by becoming a physician. And with these setbacks, I have caused shame and dishonor on my family. All this came out in therapy. I had no idea that I had created within myself this savior complex. My family didn't need to be saved. They just wanted to be there for me. They just wanted to support me, and I could not allow that because of the lie of depression and anxiety. Added on to that was the shame that I wore like a cloak of watching my friends progress in the program, the people that I had started with progress and again, they never, looked down or talked down or excluded me. This was something I put on myself.
Woo.
Shame and guilt are only meant for when you have done wrong and when you have caused harm. If you have not done wrong or caused harm to someone and owe some sort of recompense, repentance, and reconciliation, then there's no place for shame or guilt.
Yes, Lord.
And so my parents from day zero to current have only been supportive throughout the journey. That helped me to name the lie of shame for what it was. And it helped me to cast off that cloak. In addition, the treatment that I got for depression and anxiety, it helped me to call out, when that shame spiral started to attack. I said, oh no, I see clearly what this is.
I know what you are.
I know what you are. You're not welcome here. I've not done anything wrong. There's nothing that I need to apologize for. I don't need to wear the shame. You have no place here. So I think we can do a better job of calling out shame and guilt and experiencing freedom from that.
Talk to us about freedom, what that feels like, what that, for somebody who is not experiencing, for somebody who is living in the lie of, I need to be X, and not even for X, or whatever reason we live in those lies. Talk to us. What does freedom feel like? What is freedom?
It is there. It's there. It is on the other side. You can't see it because the mountain is blocking out the sun.
Yeah.
But it is there.
Yes.
It is there. And once you experience it, you have no time or space for living with that shackle of shame and guilt. You just got to get there. You just got to get there. I can't give you freedom. I can't experience the freedom for you. You have to get it yourself. And sometimes usually that first step is the hardest. It is. And I'll be very honest. In the Black church, we do ourselves a disservice to take mental health for granted.
Yes, we do.
We wear shame as a badge of honor.
Oh, we love it. We're like what do you call it? Self-flagellating.
Yes.
We love it.
Yes.
We love being martyrs.
Yes.
It's freedom. God did not call, what did he say? Prosper and be in good health.
Yes.
There's nowhere in that passage that says he wants us to live, in shame and self-berating and not know the joy that he has for us. That life with the prospering and being in good health, it comes with its obstacles, of course.
Life with life.
Yeah.
But there is a freedom that comes with living without shame and guilt. So what do? We have to take that first step. We already made it to a hashtag. You need a therapist. You need somebody that can see you, see that covering, and penetrate it and call you out on it. That doesn't happen often in the first session, or maybe even the third session, or maybe the first therapist or the second therapist. You have to be with someone that you trust. There has to be a trust relationship there, so that you can allow yourself to be open and trust your provider to help you shed shed those garments of shame and no freedom.
No freedom.
Depression and anxiety is a chronic disease. So it's not like, an ear infection, you take antibiotics and now it's gone. It's something that has to be continually checked in on so that it does not become a monster and consume your life.
One of the things that you said that, I think is so powerful and something practical for people to keep in mind is that depression and anxiety will tell you stuff. Shame will tell you stories upon stories about who you are and what you can do and what role the people in your lives have. And to be able to recognize those stories for what they are, stories, fables, Aesop's fables, if you will, right?
Right, exactly.
Recognize that these are not true stories is so powerful. Because, we laughed about it earlier, language shapes reality, right? The stories we tell ourselves completely will have us wrapped up in a reality that's of our own self-making. And not a reality that is true reality. So I love that you said that because so many people listening are in that spot, right? Of second guessing themselves, not being able to get to that place of experiencing freedom, of being able to live in that purpose that they so clearly could see before those stories started getting told. So I love that you shared that. And that's kind of what, these conversations are about. It's for us to be able to have these real conversations in our lives and the experiences of that. I love it.
I would add also, you said it so eloquent. This is what you do every day. So you said it much more eloquently than I could. And I would add, not just the stories that we tell ourselves, but the people around you are speaking.
Yes.
And I have been blessed, y'all. I have been blessed. Pastor, this, coming from Pine Forge, transitioning to college and then grad school. And even now, the people that I surround myself with, they don't allow me to lie to myself. They are, once I disclosed the depression and anxiety that they probably suspected, but I wouldn't let them close enough in. But once they knew that, they were protection for me.
Yes.
So you have to find protective people, because sometimes it's not just the stories we tell ourselves. It's the stories that the people around us. It's the stories we're being told.
So, but that talk to us then of how the process. And again, here you are blessed again. We're blessed with, and there's a resident hater in the room. Just so I just want for that, listen. There's no shame in my.
No.
Listen, there's a resident hater in the room.
Everybody has their tribe. I have a flexible. I'm listening to Dr. Robinson tonight. I got a flexible mindset.
I love it. But
there you go.
You were blessed with the army of Pine Forge, great parents, and Dean, God surrounded you with the right people. But would you just talk to us, those of us who are listening, about choosing our friends wisely? And you said it in the end of what you just said. You have to tell people have to be around that's going to tell you the truth. If you remember Job's situation, that man didn't do nothing wrong. And his friends came to tell him, "Oh, you need to go repent. Oh, you did something wrong." How important is it? And what's that process of choosing those people that you disclose certain things to? Of those people you're allowed to speak into your life.
Yeah, because there's a balance between keeping it real with someone and tearing them down.
Yes.
And you gotta find a circle that has achieved that balance. Sometimes that means taking a step away from social media, because everybody's talking on social media. And much of it is not good.
Right.
I'm trying to,
Yeah.
much of it is not worth anything. And so there have been times where I had to just take a social media pause just so I could silence the noise. Um, you can, we talked about getting a therapist. A lot of times therapists have great resources for support groups. They have tips for how to seek out like-minded people. Okay, I want to go into medicine. Let me look at some interest groups. Let me, go to some conferences where people who are doing the thing that I want to do, they're congregating, so that I can hear more about, the struggles. Maybe it's some similar struggles, and they can give me tips on how to overcome them. Going to sometimes it can be church, where the different small groups, people that will pray with you, pray for you. But it may take some looking, and it may not be the people that you've brought with you thus far. They may not end up being the people that you need to be honest with you and keep you lifted. But you're gonna have to put in some work to find those people.
And you're going to have to, like my daughter is a people pleaser. You're going to have to shed that. You're going to have to stop trying to make everybody happy.
Because you can't.
Because you can't. You can't. I saw something the other day, Doc, where it's an old recording. I hope I sent it to her. The gentleman said, I am a better friend for you. He said he used to try to find people to be there for him, but he changed that to he wanted to find people who were there for them so they could be there for him. He wanted to find people who, and he said once he started working on himself, and what he said was, if you want me for a friend, you want the best version of me. You want the me that's taking care of me. And so often we hook up with people who don't know their own purpose, who are not self-aware of their own challenges. And I'm in a vulnerable state. And like you said, in them thinking they're helping me, they're tearing me down. Versus surrounding myself, being intentional about surrounding myself with people that want to build me up. You graduated, Doc. You're doing well. Talk to somebody who has not graduated, who is not doing well, who they did have to make that shift. They did when they heard, this is not for you. They believed it. Talk to that person from going through and then living in your purpose. Talk to that person who's not quite living in their purpose.
You got up the next day, so you're a success. We talked about the definition of success. Success, in from my vantage point, is not the number of diplomas on the wall. I know people who have way more degrees than I do and are extremely unhappy and unfulfilled. So those markers in a silo are not markers of success. And for the persons that have not met, what society deems or what tradition deems a success, it doesn't mean that they are not successful.
Right.
People who overcome obstacles and live to tell the story, that is a success. Because the reality is, and I'm going to say this, and I don't intend for it to come off as a judgment, because it is not. But there are some people who decide that they cannot continue because of whatever obstacle or challenge. it was too much for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they decided to check out.
Mm-hmm.
And by checking out, I'm meaning ending their own life.
Mm-hmm.
The persons that decide to stick it out,
Mm-hmm.
that is a success.
Mm-hmm.
That is a success.
Mm-hmm.
You live to fight another day.
Mm-hmm.
So now what do? You've gotten your rest. You woke up the next day. Now what do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this dream doesn't seem like it's going the way you thought that it did. You're grieving the death of that dream.
Mm-hmm.
Take time to grieve. And now what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And that's where your circle
Yes.
really, really helps. They help you, all right, help you wipe your tears,
Yeah.
lift your chin,
Yeah.
hold your shoulders, hold your back up straight. What do we do now?
Yeah.
So I can't really call it beyond that, Pastor.
Hashtag, what do we do now?
What do we do now?
Yes. Yes.
You know what I like about that?
Yeah, you crying too?
It's just solid stuff, man. But
You got the therapist crying too.
there's this guy I've been following, my yoga instructor.
Yes.
And it's on this app-based thing that I do. But one of the things that he says, it just resonates with me what you said, because what he says is the minute you unroll your mat, you're already a success.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You here?
Mm-hmm.
You did
Okay,
it.
because me, I'm still in my bed.
But to what you said though, I opened my eyes.
Yes.
Here's another opportunity. What will I do with it?
Yes.
And even if I don't meet all the goals, back to your flexible mindset, right? Even if I don't meet all the goals I had set up for me today, there were some stuff that I did do.
But if I don't
and I
meet
still
them
have
today,
an opportunity.
That's right.
To do the things I didn't get to another day. Maybe it didn't work out the way I planned, but it doesn't mean that it can't work out.
All right. So, Cece, you won. Hi, Christine. Christine, if you just coming in, you need to rewind and go watch this, okay? This is good. Cece, you won our prize for tonight. Cece, I'm just gonna put up how to that thing. Before we go, Doc, it's 10 o'clock. We have to go. First question is, will you come back?
Sure.
Okay, great. Would you please talk to someone now? They shifted because, and like you, because I felt when you did this. I felt when you, see, that's for you up there. Claim your prize, claim your prize, put in your stuff, and okay, I'll get you your stuff. Okay, all right. Dr. Robinson, because I too want to be delicate in how I say this. We're not telling someone to drop your career, drop how you are feeding your family to go chase your childhood dream. However, Dr. Robinson, I am asking you to please talk to somebody where there's that nagging at the back of their mind.
Mm-hmm.
God had called you to X. You're doing X, but in the back of your mind, in the tug of your heart, you know what God has called you to. Could you talk to that person who I don't want to say they quit too soon. They
let the story become bigger than the reality.
They let their story become right. Could you talk to that person for a second?
So far be it for me to tell someone what God did or did not tell them. It's very easy for me on the outside to say, are you sure God? Are you sure God told you to do that?
Mm-hmm.
I also know what it is to be head of family and know that every month I have to make sure that the mortgage is paid. Every month I have to make sure that my daughter's school tuition is paid. She has to eat every day, multiple times a day. She has to be warm in the winter. we have to have transportation. So that is the priority over any dream that I have. My immediate priority is taking care of what God has given to me. And that is my family. So that is for me, the highest purpose. That is the highest purpose that I have. And there's no purpose or dream or goal that trumps what God has entrusted to me. Now, if some sacrifices need to be made, so maybe I don't do Starbucks because I need to save up to purchase an online course.
Yes. Go ahead now.
That helps get me to the goal.
Yes,
much more slowly than I had planned, and not derailing from my main gig that I have in order to support my family. I'm taking a slower path.
Yes, ma'am.
But this is what I believe God has planned for me. So I'm going to see how I can get there. So I'm going to take that course. I may, go to some auditions, on the weekends when my parents are watching the baby. So I'm taking time throughout the week, throughout my life, to pursue that goal, to keep it ever in front of me, while not detracting from the thing that I need to do right now. To take care of my family.
Hey, you can get in touch with Dr. Robinson. Her website is coming right up on the screen right now. And her website, she's empowering you to be informed about positive health strategies, and not and health, not just meaning your physical health, but she's interested. Her passion is health education. She wants you to be empowered and informed regarding your health, and not just your physical health, but your mental health. I'm trying to
jump on to CarmenRobinsonMD.com. It's where you'll find her.
She provides mentorship, consultancy. Listen, man, and you will. Well, as you see, I have known Dr. Robinson since high school. We have not kept in touch. I did not know this. I knew this was going to be a great interview. I didn't know it was going to be a powerful interview. And I am just so grateful to God. I am so grateful to you for spending this hour with us. As you can see, we're over the hour already. And you've already agreed, and in case she's already agreed, she'll come back. So please, let's start working on it.
Because this story is not yet even close to the end being told.
And this is not all she does. You heard her say, while my baby is with my parents, go to some auditions. She asked. See, so we're not done here. We're not done. Doc, I want to say thank you so very much. I am so grateful to you. I know I'm speaking on behalf of those who are watching when I say you blessed us. My wife didn't cry, okay? He doesn't cry for nothing for nobody. So, this was good. This was solid. This was solid food. This was solid. And we want to say we're so grateful. Hey, you're alive. You're a success. If it's Monday night,
you're live with KW.
Peace.